Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of a starship called What's-Its-Name that I probably stole from some spacers and only use until I can get back to my ship technician to switch back to my original home ship, and to boldly pillage and plunder where no one has been killed before. Having now played for the better part of 3 full days, or so as is the life of a functional dad/gamer, I just want to share the love I have for the game. It is also safe to say that Starfield is definitely a love child of Fallout, only less depressing, The Expanse, and getting in some Firefly on the side, but also has a romantic quality to early space exploration like Lost in Space. Danger, Will Robinson, indeed. With a viable galaxy to explore, I still haven't actually been able to finish all the main storyline, because of getting distracted by everything else to see and do, especially various side quests that are sometimes triggered just by passing some NPCs talking about their virtual daily issues. More so, there are several factions to join with very distinctive personalities, from the Freestar Collective Rangers, reminding me of Texas Rangers.
I don't mean to be rude, but I don't know you. Now please, stand back.
To UC Vanguard and their US Air Force-like casual can-do attitude, as well as quest lines from major corporations, locations, and others that will keep you busy for days. The game also feels more alive thanks to random encounters that pop up everywhere. One minute you are a space pirate boarding an enemy ship, and the other you find the actual captain tied up in a corner of the bridge. The backstory of people abandoning Earth is captivating, and one of the related highlights was definitely finding the 200-year-old generation ship in orbit of Starfield's version of Star Trek's Risa. By the way, I am not a monster and did not blow it up. I completely have no heart to be a criminal even in video games with reload options. The planets and locations themselves are diverse and sport much to explore, but it is at the same time very different from the one game Starfield has been compared to the most, No Man's Sky. In fact, it does not even try to be similar to mining resources or moving to and from planets. As an unpopular opinion, the maps are good for what the game represents, new and uncharted locations and faraway worlds. Could use a little more navigation in urban areas though. And thank the maker that the game has a viable system for quickly moving all over the galaxy, and the load screens are actually fairly minimal on my Xbox Series X compared to previous generation games, unless you have completely forgotten the suffering of old.
I have things for you.
While I miss the VAT system to a degree, you can still find that in a way with captivating space battles as you target specific systems in your first rinky-dink starship. Combat itself has a fair challenge to it and gets better as powers are unlocked. There are things to wish upon and fantasize about that Starfield could get down the line, but for now, it is actually all good. And this comes with a very minimal amount of technical issues or glitches, having not encountered a single one to break the gameplay or immersion, not to mention the steady frame rate and stutters that only seem to happen when I use the tram car in New Atlantis. And remember, everyone's a hero until you find your first Terramorph, aka Starfield's Deathclaw, in the wild, or the numerous spider-like creatures from planet Shelob that really tickle my arachnophobia. And like everyone else, building starships is a new hobby of mine, having spent about 20% of the time just matching up starship parts and getting more upgrades to all my perks to unlock even more. It also highlights a very important distinction with most games. Star Out does not hold your hand, and there is a significant amount of trial and error to figure out how everything works. From building ships without the dashboard going red, to outposts, crafting, and everything else. The lockpicking function in the game is one of the best solutions to this particular thing I have ever seen. And to be fair, there is also one thing I have completely despised and had to rework my super heavy battle cruiser several times to exclude the use of ladders. It is like going to the dentist's office every time I had to traverse between decks on my ship, so the captain's sex bunk is now right behind the cockpit. Sorry. As a final few tips, the Bounty Hunter trait is one of the better ones and adds interesting encounters down the line. But Dream Home is rather pointless, as you are going to be anywhere but at home anyways, unless you want to use it like me to store some contraband until I get some shielded cargo space or some shady dealers. Romance is nice to get some extra XP early on the game, so make sure you hit the sack before finishing quests, and really recommend getting the Mantis quest. Even if you don't want to have one of the best early game ships, use it to build up something new, and you will have an amusing encounter until the end of the game. Oh, and get that armor from the lodge before they patch the game. It will last you easily until level 30. In no way is Starfield perfect, but there is nothing wrong with it either. So most of the pre-launch hate and worrying was completely unwarranted, and I hope that others enjoy the game as much as I have. After the household has been laid to rest and I can put in a few more hours before the day is done, eventually dreaming about finding that titanium-rich planet to set up an outpost on in my sleep. It is true to its core a Bethesda game through and through that we will play for the next 25 years. And I eagerly await the Starfield, the Super Deluxe Silver Anniversary Edition that will probably come pre-installed on my washing machine somewhere down the line.